While we only learned officially about Red Dead Redemption 2 in late 2016, this is a game that's been in development since 2010. Rockstar Games, almost immediately after releasing Red Dead Redemption, began working on this next installment. And as revealed in the last few weeks, all the Rockstar studios are working on this game collectively. This is their first game in 5 years, and their first game made for this current console generation. We often discuss and point out the issues Rockstar had with Grand Theft Auto 5, but things are much different today. We're going to discuss some of the big things Rockstar has been working on, which will hopefully make this one of the most realistic, immersive, and fun open world gaming experiences ever. But nonetheless, if you're not already subscribed, consider doing so, as I have and will continue to break down everything Red Dead Redemption 2 related, but also make sure to get geared up for this upcoming Western by getting the popular Red Moon or Wanted shirt designs. If you're interested in getting these Red Dead themed t-shirts or any of the other designs, there will be a link in the description as well. Now I want to start this video discussing one huge new feature that no one has talked about, and that is crafting. Within the Italian website Every Eye's preview of the game, they stated there will also be a simple crafting system, not too elaborate or priority in the gaming economy, which will give us the opportunity to exploit some of the resources accumulated during the trip. How far Rockstar goes with this is unknown, but in my opinion, this is great news because it makes exploration a lot more interesting. We've heard that we can interact and open drawers and chests and all kinds of other things, but we now know it may be possible to craft certain bait, outfits, or even weapons. This certainly could make exploration a lot more alluring and fun. Red Dead Redemption had us only being able to collect items and then sell them for the most part, being able to have more options like using a bison skin and a few other items to make something like a valuable belt or a saddle that makes our horse run faster, or collecting wood to make more arrows is an interesting possibility that may further reward exploration. But something I also want to dive into is weapons, because in Red Dead Redemption 2 they will work much differently. For starters, we no longer will carry an infinite amount of guns. You'll have to choose which ones you want to use during each mission or activity you take part in. You can store some weapons like heavier ones on your horse, so there are still options to change your loadout, but the reason why Rockstar is doing this is again with their mission for realism. Now besides just that, we have gotten more insight into some more changes. The Italian website noted there will be an upgrade system in place in which we can improve our weapons, specifically saying we know the skills of Arthur Morgan will increase progressively during the adventure, as well as Michael, Trevor, and Franklin improve their driving skills and their physical prowess. The protagonist of Red Dead Redemption 2 will be able to increase this skill with the weapons or the ones in the saddle. Rockstar North Coast studio head Rob Nelson, who we'll be talking about a lot within this video, would also discuss the feel for weapons, saying that gunplay is a lot like Red Dead Redemption, but that they are trying to make weapons feel as realistic as they can, specifically saying we're constantly playing with the timings and speeds of those things so they feel realistic, but they're not necessarily one-to-one realistic, as that would be annoying in practice. Either way, we've already discussed the returning Deadeye and the infamous weapon wheel, but also the introduction to slow motion kill cams that was previously in Max Payne 3. It seems that while Rockstar's main focus may be bringing a living world to life, they're also taking weapons and how they work seriously, making sure they are fun and interesting. A lot is still unknown, like how weapons may tie into crafting, how the upgrade system even works, the different types of weapon skins that have been shown off, which teases either customization or maybe different versions of guns. Eventually we will get those answers, but for now, the changes that are coming sound great. So one of the lingering questions that many have is, how will the physics be in Red Dead Redemption 2? For those who don't know, games like Grand Theft Auto 4 and Red Dead Redemption used the Euphoria game animation engine, and what this provided was a more realistic feeling than what you see in a lot of other games. So how Euphoria works is that instead of using predefined animations that you see in many games, the character's actions and reactions are synthesized in real time within the game engine. They are different every time, even when replaying the same scene over and over. If you look to games like Watch Dogs or Far Cry, you'll often notice the same animations being used over and over again, which has been one of my big issues, or you could say pet peeves, with a lot of Ubisoft games. There are many developers that do this, and the repetitive nature really can ruin the immersion. Now with Grand Theft Auto 5, Euphoria was clearly scaled back. There are numerous comparisons that you can find in which your character or NPCs react a lot less realistically dramatically than previous Rockstar titles. I'll put some of the comparisons in the background. Now, the reason why this was done was more than likely because of the console limitations that Rockstar faced with the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and that's just my opinion, but ultimately creating such a vast world with so much going on probably forced them into scaling some things back. So the big question now is, how does Rockstar approach Red Dead Redemption 2? And in recent days, we've gotten some details on that. Rockstar's Rob Nelson, within a few interviews, has discussed the big changes that we will notice within the game. Here's what he has said, speaking to the Italian website Every Eye. As solid as the conversion work of Grand Theft Auto 5 on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One was, the truth is that the technical foundations of that project were thrown into the previous generation. We wanted to do more, to field other ideas, to propose something really new. So we have rewritten entire sections of our engine from scratch, working more consistently on an aspect that for too long had been stuck on standards a bit outdated, and that being artificial intelligence. Rockstar's Rob Nelson would also note that they have been working on new AI for 6 years now that we will see in Red Dead Redemption 2. But this time, speaking to IGN, he went a bit more in depth with the changes, saying there's as much variability as we can get in that particular setup. You know, it's not going to play out in the same way every time, and the combat AI is greatly evolved from anything we've done, and the companion AI does things like that. But we want the gang members' personalities to be consistent on these missions and off the missions, so you really feel they are people. Now, unfortunately, these quotes still don't really outline how the physics are in the game, but Rockstar clearly wants us to know that they've been working hard at creating a realistic experience. And for many, for that to be truly realized, the character reactions and actions need to feel the same way. Within our recent trailer, we did get some gameplay sequences, with one of them being scrutinized as a sign that Euphoria may again be scaled back, and honestly, from this one clip it's still too early to say. But I decided to ask some of the people who have seen the game in action for their thoughts on the physics, since none of them have outlined that yet. This being the journalists who went to Rockstar Games and got an exclusive demo presentation. So I reached out on Twitter, and while the French journalist wasted my time and linked me to a 28-minute video that revealed absolutely nothing I didn't already know, one of the IGN editors, John Ryan, did provide some insight, saying, "To be honest, I don't remember the combat physics in exact detail. There was a lot going on. I don't think they were as stumbly-bumbly as in Red Dead Redemption, but I could be wrong." And also saying the following to Grand Theft Auto 5's physics and the criticism it often receives. Grand Theft Auto 5's physics aren't inherently worse or better than Red Dead Redemption's. In my opinion, it's about the tone feel that the studio is going for. If they want to craft a more grounded world, that probably means not having dudes cartwheel away from a rifle shot. And then finally responding to someone saying they hope it's not dumbed down, he said, "I don't think dumbed down is a concern. We still saw dudes tumbling off roofs and getting stuck in stirrups when falling off horseback." So while this doesn't really tell us exactly how the physics are going to be, this is some insight, and at least from what's been said, it does seem it'll be different than both Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption. But next, continuing a bit off of what we just discussed, is Rockstar's mission to make Red Dead Redemption 2 as realistic as possible. Besides just characters and how they react to specific actions, a big question has been how will the world change around you? We've discussed how Rockstar is trying to make a world in which things go on whether you do or don't do anything. Now, an interesting thing Rob Nelson has talked about is the world evolving, saying that when you meet caravans, fishermen, a group of settlers who are building a ranch, coming back to this area in a while, you might find this building completed and in operation. That of Red Dead Redemption 2 will be a world in some evolutionary ways, where you will build railways and towns they will expand. In a different interview, Rob Nelson would outline some of the limitations to how much the world around you will change. A specific example was brought up of the interviewer wandering into a charred forest in town, leading them to ask whether it's possible to burn down a section of forest and create one of these scorched areas. Nelson would reply, "It would be nice, but no, because it's not practical. You could burn structures down, but a forest fire would change the map in such a way it would have to change the feeling of the world and the things that are in there." He would further admit that they could technically do this, but that isn't what they want to do, saying, "I suppose you could do it, but then you would the way that we make these worlds is basically handcraft them, and so that would be some sort of procedural thing that would happen, and the content there, it's just not practical, and then have the resolution of the content that would have to come in there. For it to feel consistent consistent with what we're trying to achieve with the world. I think most of us gamers understand, while procedural generation of that scale sounds great, it tends to be very difficult for developers to make it work. And I personally do like and agree with Rockstar's thoughts on this. We've heard one other developer actually working on something like this, and that is CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk 2077. A past leak claimed that a fight within the city could bring destruction, and once you leave and come back you may find robots fixing the site, and then even later it could be fully repaired. It seems like this type of thing in which destructible environments can be fully realized may be the next step in gaming. Will we see that in Red Dead Redemption 2? Again, probably just to an extent. Certain missions will obviously allow buildings to get torn apart. We've already seen that within some of the images and trailers, but outside of that, it doesn't seem likely. And I think that's completely okay based off of all the things that Rockstar is striving and looking to do with this upcoming title. Anyway, gang, we discussed a lot more of the technical things today, and I would love to know what you think of Red Dead Redemption 2's world and physics. How do you envision or think it'll be like? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and consider subscribing for more videos like this. Turn notifications on so you don't miss out on any Red Dead videos. Remember, outlaws to the end.